Have you felt it? You know, that feeling that the old rules just don't apply anymore? That the world we thought we knew is kind of shifting right under our feet? Well, it's not just a feeling, it's real. We are living through a massive, interconnected system shock. And in this explainer, we're going to pull on the 4 key threads that are unraveling it all. All right, let's just jump right in. Our first big signal? Look at the price of gold. When you see serious forecasts of gold blowing past $4,500 or silver topping 70, this is not just another market rally, okay? This is a fire alarm going off. It's a massive signal, and it's backed up by new Basel III banking rules that the world is seriously losing faith in the digital illusion of money, and it's scrambling back to something real, something you can actually hold.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The whole story that the central banks could just gently steer us out of all this trouble, that soft landing fairy tale, is a story that fewer and fewer people are buying. The system is desperately looking for a life raft, and it's finding it in physical assets, stuff that can't just be printed into oblivion.
Now, before we get any deeper, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on those notifications, and share and like this explainer. Just a quick reminder, the information here is all compiled from open sources, and it is not investment advice. Thank you. So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with how money itself is fundamentally changing. Then we'll look at how global trade is getting completely redrawn by politics. After that, we'll zoom in on one country that's feeling this pressure cooker environment intensely. And finally, we'll uncover the hidden, very real physical cost of our digital future. First up, the Great Rematerialization. I mean, this is all about a huge shift away from just having faith in government-backed currency and back to the cold, hard reality of physical assets. You know, this has been the big trap for years, right? In a world where interest rates were basically zero, investors were forced to take on insane amounts of risk just to get any kind of return. This quote from Raymond Devo Jr. is such a powerful reminder of that danger, and it really explains that deep-seated urge to run for safety instead of chasing speculative gains. And what's so telling about this image is how it perfectly captures the public mood right now. I mean, seeing Fed Chair Powell as Icarus, with his wings made of dollar bills just burning up as he flies too close to the sun, that's not just a clever cartoon. It really gets at the deep erosion of trust in the very institutions that are supposed to protect the value of our money. So you have to ask yourself, with governments facing these mountains of debt, what's their escape hatch? Well, one really powerful tool is something called financial repression. To put it simply, it's when the government basically stacks the deck in its own favor. By keeping interest rates artificially low, way below the real rate of inflation, they make sure that your savings are actually losing value over time. It's like a stealth tax that helps them pay down their own debts. And hey, if you think this is all just some abstract theory, think again. This has happened before. What you're looking at is FDR's executive order from 1933, which forced U.S. citizens to turn in their gold. It's a pretty sobering reminder that when things get really bad, governments will take extreme measures to stay in control. Okay, so let's move on to our second theme. Because this breakdown of trust, it's not just financial, it's geopolitical. The whole era of one big happy global village, it's over. We are now moving into an age of geopolitical fortresses. For decades, the name of the game was efficiency, right? Make things wherever it's cheapest, period. That world is gone. The new world is all about security and resilience. Countries are choosing to trade with their friends, with their allies, even if it costs more. It's a total rewiring of the global economy, from just-in-time to just-in-case. And the side effect of all this, you guessed it, persistent built-in inflation, because resilience is always more expensive than pure efficiency. And this isn't just a theory. Look at the hard data coming out of the European Central Bank. Trade between countries that are politically aligned is surging, and trade with opposing blocs, it's falling off a cliff. Money and goods are now following the flag, not just the lowest price tag. For us as consumers, this probably means the era of ever cheaper stuff is over. And for businesses, it means they have to rethink their entire supply chains, which were built for a world that just doesn't exist anymore. And what happens when trade becomes a weapon? The choke points of the world, places like the Suez and Panama Canals, they become the front lines. A blockade there, a disruption there, it's no longer just a temporary headache. It becomes a strategic tool to inflict economic pain. This weaponization of our shipping lanes guarantees that the friction in global trade becomes permanent, helping to lock in a new, higher baseline for inflation around the world. So how do these huge global forces, both financial and geopolitical, actually play out on the ground for a real country? Let's zoom right in on a really powerful case study, the paradox that's facing Turkey right now.
So on the one hand, you've got the Turkish government's official, very optimistic economic plan, but on the other hand, you have these stark forecasts from big players like S&P and Goldman Sachs, who see the Turkish lira dropping into the 42 to 45 range against the dollar. This isn't just a gap, it's a chasm, and it's leading many to warn that Turkey is facing what could be its most difficult year in more than 2 decades.
This quote really captures the human cost of that economic chasm. This isn't about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about a massive collision between people's wages and the harsh reality of a currency that's losing its value. The year 2026 is now being framed not as a year of economic recovery, but as a fight for social survival. And really, Turkey's situation is the perfect stress test for the fragile global system we're talking about. When a nation's domestic policies, like setting a minimum wage, crash head-on with the brutal reality of global markets, the pressure becomes unbearable. Turkey is showing us, in real time, what happens when one of the pillars of that old financial world starts to crumble. It's a direct consequence of everything we've been discussing.
Okay, now for our fourth and final thread. And this one is a disruptive force so powerful, it's like a massive accelerant being poured on everything else we've talked about. The rise of artificial intelligence.
So while all these old structures are breaking apart, this new giant is awakening. We're past the initial hype now. We're in the phase where AI is being monetized, and it turns out this new giant has an enormous and widely overlooked appetite.
For years, we've kind of neglected the physical world, right? We've underinvested in commodities and energy production. Now a bunch of forces are all hitting at once to create a new commodity supercycle. But the real kicker, the brand new source of demand that almost nobody has priced in yet, is the actual energy needed to make AI profitable. We're talking about a staggering amount of power for data centers.
This right here is the hidden truth of our digital age. AI is not weightless. It's not just sitting in the cloud. It is built on a colossal physical foundation of silicon, of copper, and most critically, of raw power. The race to make money from AI isn't just about software. It's kicking off a mad scramble for energy and physical resources that's going to define the next decade. And it's pouring jet fuel on the fire of rematerialization. So let's tie it all together. You have money going back to physical assets like gold because faith in the old system is shot. You have trade breaking up along political lines, which creates permanent inflation. You see entire national economies like Turkey getting caught in the crossfire, showing just how unstable the system is. And driving it all, this new digital revolution is creating an insane new demand for the very physical energy and commodities the world is already fighting over.
You see, each thread is pulling on the others, unraveling the world we thought we knew. The big theme here is a massive return to reality. The reality of physical assets, of geopolitical power, of national limits, and of energy constraints. In this new world of broken trust and very real physical limits, the old maps are completely useless, and the question for every single one of us is, what comes next?